The favorite thing about being a teacher is the fact that I'm able to teach students of all age groups, and I'm able to communicate with them. I'm able to put across my ideas, my thoughts, and my opinions on different subjects very clearly. All right. And I feel that that's the best thing and the most favorite thing about being a teacher. And also, I'm able to explain those concepts which are difficult to be understood by others, especially students, right? So I feel that if I'm able to explain those difficult concepts by virtue of the fact that I have got knowledge about it, by virtue of the fact that I actually learnt it during my own school or college days or university days, by virtue of the fact that I actually kind of got fundamental and basic elementary training, and that actually enables me to kind of put across my thoughts and ideas clearly to my students. That actually gives me a lot of happiness, right? And that's the favorite thing that I think is actually there about being a teacher. What is challenging about being a teacher? I feel that the most important challenge of a teacher would be to handle difficult students. uh, Difficult students can be a very kind of stiff challenge for any teacher, for that matter, no matter how experienced the teacher is, for that matter. I feel that one has to show a lot of resilience. The teacher has to show a lot of patience, and has to use all the skills and training that the person has got to handle difficult students, right? So I feel that is the most challenging task. Apart from that challenge, I feel that teachers often have to fight, kind of low salaries and sometimes low payout, right? So I feel that is another challenge that is there. So for that, probably all teachers have to work very hard to make sure that they get a decent earnings at the end of the day. Um, the third question: what do you think is challenging about learning a new language? I think the most important challenge about learning a new language is actually understanding the basics and fundamentals, especially the grammar part, right? So every language is dependent on grammar, and unless you know the grammar properly, you won't be able to speak the language properly, or you won't be able to write in that specific language. So I feel that is important. So I don't think it's a big challenge, but it's actually a kind of a little difficult and stiff for an individual who knows nothing about XYZ language, and then that person has to learn that language, right, all over from the beginning, from the scratch. So I feel that is actually a kind of challenge, right? And of course, one has to show a lot of can say patience when a person is learning a new language. We cannot afford to give up. We cannot afford to just kind of show a sense of frustration while learning any language, for that matter. You have to keep practicing. You have to show a sense of continuity, and also we have to ensure that we are engrossed and we are totally focused in that. Next question says that can you tell us about a time you made a mistake with a student? I don't think that I have ever made a mistake with any of my students. Probably sometimes, while taking especially online classes, sometimes, kind of internet issue arises. Very rarely it arises, and that creates a communication gap, right? So I feel that because of the lack of communication, there is actually some kind of dead air which is created, and that sometimes actually frustrates the students as well. So when I lose my student, all right, I feel that's the biggest mistake I have made, and I feel really sorry and very frustrated about that, because students are important for any teacher or teachers, for that matter. So we have to ensure that I have to ensure that I actually kind of learn, kind of teach the subject properly without offending the students, and ensuring that the students learn everything that I have to teach them, for that matter. uh, Next question is, what is your perspective on error correction in the classroom? Obviously, that's the most important part of teaching any subject, for that matter. When we are when you are teaching a subject, one has to know that the person is able to teach it correctly, and whatever error that is happening, right, that has to be rectified. If errors are not rectified, then obviously that will create a misconception in the student's mind, and eventually that will lead to kind of fake learning or wrong incorrect learning, right? So we have to ensure that we whatever we teach it in the right way, right? And no false or wrong informations should be given to the students, and whatever incorrect concepts that are there in the student's mind, that has to be rectified instantly. Instant feedback is required. If we don't give instant feedback, then obviously it might happen that the teacher might forget to give the feedback at the end of the class, and obviously the if the teacher forgets, then the same concept or misconception will stay in the student's mind, which they might consider to be the right concept. So any mistake happening or mistakes happening, that has to be rectified instantly. That's what I feel, right? What could you do if a student seems nervous or untalkative? No, it's always a job of a good teacher to ensure that whatever kind of lack of communication is happening within the class, that is actually kind of covered up, and that is actually breached properly. If someone is nervous, the person has to be given a good amount of you can say ease, so that the person can actually shed aside or maybe keep aside their nervousness and focus on the right communication. Being talkative is also not good, and being untalkative in the class is also not good. Untalkative when there requires a good communication in the class is not really acceptable, while being talkative about irrelevant topics is totally unacceptable. So both needs to be avoided. So the student needs to be given adequate information about the topic, and also if they have to be kind of informed about the ground rules as to what they have to speak and what they don't have to speak. Is company culture important to you? Yes, of course. I feel that every company is known by the culture that it has, and obviously it's important for me. I feel craving English. I know everything about it. I'm just looking forward to be a part of this, excellent platform where I can meet excellent and wonderful students, and I'll be able to put across my thoughts, my ideas to them, and teach them the language in the right perspective, and give them the right information so that they can actually grow after learning that language. Thank you very much, Vraving English. I'm looking forward to the next stage. Thank you very much.